California fast food restaurants shed thousands of jobs after a $20 minimum wage hike. And they went from 16 to 20 bucks. What's that do for business? Yeah, you're fired. Sorry about that. Thought you were going to get paid more. We can't afford you. Or shut down the restaurant. Let's go work in a state that they don't have these mandates. Let's get into it. Here we go. Let's watch a little video from the boring business nerd. This is on YouTube. Here we go.
As new data indicates that California's fast food sector added 11,000 new jobs since the price hikes were mandated. So is everything going well like the governor suggests, or are the numbers a little bit misleading? I think the latter. We're seeing more evidence that restaurants can't overcome the increase in labor costs simply by increasing menu prices.
Nope.
Shake Shack announced today they're shutting down 6 California locations. And in June, Rubio cited the rising cost of doing business in California as a reason they had to close 48 underperforming stores in the state. There's also a bunch of evidence that California restaurants have reduced employee hours and limited things like overtime and other perks. So while we haven't seen the mass layoffs that many predicted, I think California's $20 minimum wage law will force more restaurant chains to close locations and consider opportunities in states where labor is cheaper.
This is not a shocker, is it, folks? This is not a shocker. You dictate that minimum wage goes up, not based on, market dynamics. And restaurants are like, hey, consumers, we can't pass this on to the consumers. What are we going to do? Well, kind of fire some employees, and then that doesn't work. Well, this location is no longer viable. Let's go ahead and open up a new store, new string of stores somewhere else that doesn't dictate the minimum wage hike. So what is the actual reality now? Well, California's fast food industry shed more than 6,000 jobs after Democratic lawmakers passed a bill mandating a $20 minimum wage for most fast food and counter service restaurants in the state. According to new analysis of labor data, U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics show that between September 2023, when California Governor Gavin Newsom signed Bill 1228, and June of 2024, Golden State fast food employment dropped from 570 to 564. It's a loss of 6,166 jobs, or 1.1%. I mean, this makes absolute sense. You try and dictate market economics, and how's that going to work out? You shove down a mandate down the throats of restaurant owners. Hey, this is what you got to do. You got to pay your people this. Well, yeah, no, I don't. You're fired. I mean, how much of California's fast food employee jobs are literally going to go to robots in the near future? It's already happening, right? So restaurant owners are going to go, yeah, what's the return on investment on that robot, on Johnny the Robot? Yeah, let's go down that route. I don't have to pay these people. Now, I'm not saying that folks aren't worth 20 bucks an hour, but when the market isn't there and it's mandated, I mean, Seattle has done that on a number of things. Hey, let's give the, Uber drivers, and let's give them, when they're delivering food, let's give them a minimum wage. And they put in a $5 fee, and then nobody orders food delivery in Seattle anymore. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to in Seattle who just basically stated, yeah, I either don't order it or I don't get to go to pick it up, because not only is the economy, in the place it has been, and people don't feel comfortable spending that extra money on food delivery. I haven't done food delivery. I did food delivery down in Oklahoma City because my hotel is kind of in this area where you got to walk 20, 25 minutes to get to, anything open. It's just all so spread out there. So I had a couple of deliveries from DoorDash, and we had one that was really good Mexican food, but they didn't have all these extra fees. And it was like, oh, hey, I'm sitting on my bed with my kid, on the bed next over. We're watching movies, and you get the food brought into the lobby of your hotel, no extra fees, and it's really good food. That makes sense. Seattle, with all their fees and all their delivery stuff, no matter how good the food is, you're like, I could have gone out to eat and paid that. So a lot of people, same thing in California. Newsom took a sledgehammer to the state's restaurants when he signed the $20 fast food minimum wage law. Jobs have been smashed by thousands, and the industry is struggling to stay afloat. And, on top of this, you've got inflation that has, stripped out our earnings to the point where people are just not going out like they were. We're on that cycle, not of prosperity, but of kind of hunkering down and cooking food at home. I think, that is my opinion, but I see a lot of people and I run into a lot of people that have basically stated the same thing. Never mind that fast food is so bad for you. It's all processed foods and we should all make a garden at home and just eat turnips all day long. Starting to sound like that guy, aren't I? The fast food minimum wage hike, a 25% jump over $16 minimum wage in place for virtually every other sector of the California economy, was the result of a years-long campaign by big labor leaders and their Democratic allies to target an industry they've long struggled to organize. Yeah, how's that working out for you? They don't care, right? Membership's down just a little bit, but hey, we really stuck it to those fast food companies. The restaurant industry fought back, gathering enough signatures for a ballot initiative to challenge the act, but Democrats had a fallback plan of their own. Last year, for the first time in 2 decades, they funded what is known as the Industrial Welfare Commission, which has the authority to regulate wages, hours, and working conditions for industries across the state. This is some of the political nonsense that people are leaving California for in droves. They're not moving to California. I saw a company the other day. Who was it? It was a clothing company. And it made sense for them to go to California. They were in Texas and they made the announcement they're moving to California. But that is the rare exception, right? That is the absolute rare exception. Everybody else is moving out of California because not only do you have a state income tax, you've got all kinds of taxation. And look what's going on with gasoline. They got to have their own special blend of gasoline. And, the refineries are, constricting the supply because they're not making any money. And with all the regulation that California is putting on the gas industry and the oil industry, the fossil fuel industry in general, and pipelines are non-existent and they got to create their own fuel. Special blend that's just so good. And yet, what they're going to end up doing? They're going to end up bringing it in from like Saudi Arabia in these big, huge oil tankers that come across, the ocean seas and just billow crap into the environment. Just billow it. But hey, don't worry about that because it doesn't really count against California's footprint. It's offshore. So much just absolute ridiculousness, right? Fast food restaurant owners who spoke to National Review last spring said that because of the wage hike, everything is on the table. This is just, Rubio's being the perfect example. Rubio's Coastal Grill, a Mexican chain, shuttered 48 of its California restaurants, citing the rising cost of doing business. And, the leadership in California, you know what they're doing? There's lots of restaurants around. There's still going to be a place to eat. They don't care. They're getting what they want. They don't care. In the wake of the fast food wage hike in April, California voters last month rejected Proposition 32, a ballot measure that would have increased the state's minimum wage from 16 to 18, because they've seen what happens when you monkey around with the economics of a free market and the market pushes back and companies like Rubio say, nope, boom, we're done. We're out of here. We're going to go someplace else. And, if you're trying to run a business and the mandates of that location, whether it's city, it's county, it's jurisdiction, it's state, if you can't run your business in a profitable manner, or you have enough things that say, nope, can't do it, no can do, then you close her down and you relocate and you go elsewhere. And that is what has happened en masse to California. It's one of those things. And this right here, the number of jobs that have been eliminated from the fast food industry, it's just one more indication. Hey, you can shove this policy down people's throats, but at the end of the day, the market it does its own thing. And it says, No mas. We're out of here. Sayonara. Off to North Carolina we go. Off to Texas we go. Off to Florida we go. These numbers are not shocking. This is the inevitable response to jacking up, to this extent. Those numbers. Period. I mean, this is what you get. This is what you bargained for. And here you are. So if you are one of these fast food workers, ask yourself, lost their job. How'd that work out for you? Yeah. Brutal, right? Hey, you got a little bit more there for a little while until you got fired because the economics don't work. So this whole workers of the world unite thing, it's got to work within a context. And in capitalism, it doesn't necessarily mean, let's just do this and we'll see how it works out. Oh, that's not good. Lose 6,000 jobs. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.